Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're continuing our run of New Mutants by Chris Claremont. So we're looking today at The New Mutants 44 from 1986. Kind of funny that Bill Sienkiewicz's characters are still on the corner box. We've got this cover by Barry Windsor Smith, although Legion's face doesn't look very Barry Windsor Smithish here. And we've got Wolfsbane versus Legion in the cover. So this marks the return of Legion. We haven't seen him since the Bill Sienkiewicz day. And so Legion's back. Wolfsbane's down. 8 mutants to go. And so we start out in Muir Isle here. And one of the rare times where Chris Claremont does not put a lot of exposition, we see this piece of machinery is about to fall on Dr. Moira McTaggart here. And Wolfsbane sees it and says, Lady Moira, mummy above you. She calls her mummy. She basically raised Rain here. Look out. And Legion here is sort of frozen. And so Wolfsbane's about to go. Now, real quick, here come the credits here. Chris Claremont is the writer. We've got about 10 more issues. Chris Claremont bows out with issue 54 of The New Mutants. So we'll be covering it all the way to the very end. Chris Claremont also did a miniseries called New Mutants Forever, which I believe is 5 issues, and those take place directly after 54. So we will also be covering those issues. So Jackson Guice is the penciler. Sometimes I want to say Goose because juice. But I believe it's Guice. So I could be wrong, though. Kyle Baker is the inker, and I love Kyle Baker. Kyle Baker is a brush user, and you can see that here. Not airbrush, little dry brush being applied here, and dry brush being applied here. Kyle Baker is an incredible artist. Very cartoony. I love his work, and I love his inking. I would have him ink my stuff all the time if I was a pro. So you once again, I love the shadow of the hand being applied here as she's running. And the title of our story is called Runaway. So once again, Wolfsbane is running toward McTaggart to save her from that piece of machine that was falling on her. And so McTaggart goes, Rain, whatever. And then Saints as she sees the machine falling on her. Wolfsbane turns into her wolf's form here and goes to get Moira, but instead of pushing out of the way, just cuddles with her. Like, I guess we're both going to die here. But it's the machine, as it's going to fall, they realize now that it is being held. And Moira's like, it stopped. Saints be praised. Of course, we know this is the work of Legion who's holding it. And so you can see the thing being levitated. And so if you remember from the past, Legion has 3 personalities in him, and telekinetics are Jack Wayne. So he has been let out. If he hadn't been, he would have been crushed. He has a telepath in there as well, and he's got one more personality. But anyway, Jack Wayne is the one that rescued them. And he is kind of an unlikable character here. And so, and he says, remember, he had been in prison in Legion's mind. So he says, great for me, lousy for him, meaning Legion, because now I'm loose and I'm never going to be caged again. Worse for you, because you'll try to stop me, and that, sweet babes, I can't allow. And suddenly, boom, or skaboom here. Pretty cool here. And so I love how Claremont says an ocean and 5 time zones to the west. So we're in Professor Xavier's school here. Good panel here. And then an even better panel here as we see Jackson Guice is one of my favorites. I really like him. He's a great penciler. Um, his style is one that I sort of uh, am more natural at these kind of things. He looks as models, and so do I. So we it's a style that most of the time I can understand. I cannot draw like Jim Lee. I cannot draw like Todd McFarlane. I cannot draw like Mark Silvestri, but I can uh, try and do this. It just their styles, as much as I admire their styles, I'm just not able to replicate. They use so much lines. Jim Lee and McFarlane does. I just it just to me it just doesn't look natural when I try it. Um, so again, we've got Danny Moonstar here, who's Mirage, and she is sleeping here. Suddenly she awakens here, and she's got a mind link to Rain, Wolfsbane. So she that startled her, and so she's going to run to. She runs to the phone here. I love the shadow here, and tries to call Scotland, which is where Muir Isle is, but no one is answering. And so you can see, answer the phone. So Rain, Rain, Danny thinks the worst here. She's got one sock on. And so she thinks Rain is dead, and she's like, no. And so she gets up here, and she needs help. She looks for Ileana, and says her room's on the other wing, on the far side of the house. No problems. And so now she's not able to walk very well. I believe, actually, I think this is a cast, if I remember correctly, from her adventure. So she's going to try to make it to Liana, but she ends up falling. So anyway, she makes it eventually to the room and says, Liana, wake up, magic. You're needed. I love this. The sorceress is in. Do not disturb her else. Beware of the demon. And so there she is. Who dares violates the sacred sanctum sanctorum of magic? Let my spells transfix. And so these are some of the other demons here. And so Ileana turns into, and she's like, sends everybody back to limbo. And so the demons all leave. And she goes, are you blind? You've forgotten how to read? Those signs are on my door for a reason. And she asks her if she's okay. She's like, you busting in like that scared me. And Mirage is like, I scared you. And so eventually she sits down and says, what's up? And she goes, Rain, she's in trouble. So the New Mutants ended up hearing the scream and go to check it out here. And I love Cannonball wearing the Leela Cheney tour. Look how tight it is. Um, anyway, they all find out the same thing, that there's some kind of trouble. And so Bobby says, Sunspot here, or so you think. Suppose it's your imagination, Danielle, no more than a bad dream. Madonna, for this I was awakened from a sound sleep. And Sam says, give the girl a break, Bobby. Considering the alternative, what if she's right? How can we afford not to make sure? I would keep calling before making a trip all the way over there. But hey, um, and uh, Danny says, I never intended involving all the New Mutants, Sam. You guys go back to bed. I'll handle this on my own. And Ileana says, that's our chief, as brave as she is dumb. And Karma says, Ileana is quite correct, Danielle. You are being very foolish. As our co-leader, you should know better. So the other co-leader, of course, is Cannonball here. We do no harm by accompanying you, save to your pride, should you be proven wrong. Ultimately, you may well need our powers. So Cannonball tells everybody to be ready in 5 minutes, and Cypher says Magneto won't be back till tomorrow. Yes, I say Magneto, not Magneto. I'll leave a note. And so Sunspot still thinks this is crazy. And Ileana says, if that's what bothers you, or the fact that we have to travel via... sorry, is that what bothers you, or is it that we have to go through limbo? And Sunspot says, I'm not afraid of that evil place, sorceress. And of course, in the thought balloon, Mirage says, yeah, you are. So he tries, of course, Sunspot tries to put on a brave face here. And so so many characters. Mirage says, no one's forcing you to do anything, Roberto. If you rather stay behind, no one will think any less of you. Right. And so here we are in Muir Isle. I like the sun. Is this a rise? A sunrise? And so the New Mutants have shown up. And so Warlock with the expression here of I love Warlock's kind of a fun character. It's a little hokey, and so we have all the New Mutants here, and someone is I believe this is Sunspot here, who is dressed normal here, and Sam's like, was that so bad a trip? And so Warlock is going to do a scan. And so they're all going to go to the residency, and Sunspot's like, see, everything was fine. No cause whatsoever for, and alarm. It continues here. I wanted to say something real quick. I love these thick brushes. I'm a huge fan. So here they are in that room where that thing had fallen here, and they see this mess here, and you see Roberto's here wearing the hat and the shirt, but then here I just noticed he gives her the shirt here now. So at first I was like, what the heck? But they don't show him giving him the shirt. So anyway, they find Wolfsbane, and Danny is so happy that they came for oh, here it is. Take my shirt, little one. And so she says, there was a great fire, had to protect Larry Moira. And Danny is like, who reigned? Who did this? And Wolfsbane says, Legion. And so there's an explanation here. And so they go to Ullapool. You can see the sun is still out, and they say that it's midnight. And of course, it's winter in the north, so the sun doesn't really set very much, doesn't set for they're very, summer. And the sun doesn't set very long that far north. And so they go, that's good, since, his super strength is solar based, and they may need it here. So, then he asks Wolfsbane if she's okay, because otherwise they'll have Warlock take her back, and she says, don't worry, dinna fash yourself. Uh I love how Chris Claremont tries to uh do the even the vocabulary. She does that with Wolfsbane, she does that with Rogue, and so she tells him, besides, you'll need my wolfen senses to follow Legion's trail. And of course, Warlock says, I can do that too. Scanning for hostile mutant form. And you can see Wolfsbane is using her senses here. I can find them faster and more quietly. Um, and so then he says, I borrowed a set of X-Men's microtransceivers. They're miniature two-way radios if you fit them in your ear. This way we can stay in touch no matter where we go in town. And so Sam asks, who's this Legion? And so she tells him it's Professor Xavier's son. Um, and Sam's like, our old teacher had a kid. And so, and sly old devil. And so they get him and or find out where he is, and so Wolfsbane transforms and off they go to go get Legion, and they talk as all this happens here. Oh, that's the third one, Cindy. Pyrotic. Just she can create fires with her mind, kind of like Firestarter, that movie. And so as all this is going on, they're using that to basically get the reader up to speed on what Legion is. So I do have a playlist. Feel free to check it out here. And so I've covered all those issues. And so as they're going into a bar, this guy is thrown out the window, and you can see Warlock catches him here, and Wolfsbane takes a look here, and they find him in there. And so Danny says, Legion's never met you or Karma, Sam, and you're both old enough to not look out of place in there. And so it's just going to send them to basically do a little reconnaissance here. And Ileana's going to get or have them change their clothes here. And so here they are. And so they go in, Sam and Shan, and they find him making the moves on these two ladies here. And Karma kind of walks past him, and he takes a look. It kind of pushes that one to the side, but then Karma uses her power and possesses him. And so out there walks. So this one gets all mad and says, he's my date. You try and find somebody else to play your trade, and slaps her. When that happens, she loses concentration and Legion is free. So of course he grabs her, and she levitates, and of course freaks her out. And so he's gonna burn her. He's gonna use that pyrotic power of his. This guy's like, leave her alone. Oh, you're gonna play hero, huh? And so in the meantime, Cannonball comes behind and hits him through. They go through the wall. You can see the mutants are out there, but Legion uses kind of like a karate chop and a kick and hits him here. And so the car gets on fire from the from his power here, and Wolfsbane's going to get the save the two polices here before the tank explodes here, which it does. And hey, it's the 80s. All cars always blew up here. Oh, look at Warlock. That is so cool. During the explosion, Cypher freaks out because he thinks Warlock is dead, but he's okay. And inside, he saved that police officer, and everyone was like, I don't believe it, Roy. It's a miracle. And so the kids tell him they're mutants, and Sam's looking over here and says, Mirage, everyone, look out, Legion. And Legion says, turn your backs on me, bratlings, and pay for it. And so they need to find Legion, but suddenly you see demons, and this is Reverend Craig. He's the one that helped raise Wolfsbane, and he is a very Uh, I don't know how you would describe it, but he's very he fit perfectly during the Salem witch trials. Let's just say that, and insults Rain, which she doesn't take. And they're like, "Don't waste your breath anymore, Rain." You can see her crying here, and so they said, Cypher here says, "We have a fix on Legion. He's up by the old storage tanks on the ridge. If he torches them, this whole town's history." And Rain's like, "Oh, they deserve it." But so Cindy, who's the one that controls the fire, tells them that they need to go away, or Jack's gonna make them blow it up. And they're like, "You have to fight him." And she's like, "Don't you think I've tried? I hate being his puppet. Almost I hate being locked inside Davy Dumbboy's skull," meaning Dave Haller, who's Legion here. So Jack's in charge right now of the personalities, and so the others don't understand. "You never get anything by asking, only by taking," says Jack. "Strength rules. Face it, babes. You'll never drive me back into my mind cage. Not when I've had a taste of reality. Now that I know what I've been missing." And so he sets fire to the storage tank. And Magma uses her power to control the earth, depriving the fire of the oxygen here. And so here comes Sunspot here and grabs him here and slams him against that, but that hurt them both here. And you can see now fire is starting to form. He says, my telekinesis is a match for your muscles, kid." And let's see here. So this looks like it's Sunspot here saying perhaps, but the more effort and concentration you devote to me, the less you'll have available to keep the other selves in line. They might break free. And Eliana says, Chief, we never considered what we'd do with Legion once we captured him. How do we restore David's personality to dominance?" And Danny says, "Sunspot at heart. Jack's a coward. That's the key." And so you can see that Sunspot still is being grabbed. "She's full of bull, kid. Cut me loose. Or maybe I start manipulating the blood flow to Davy's brain. Selective stroke designed to erase him and the others while leaving me whole and hearty." And Sunspot says, "You're bluffing. If that was possible, you have done it ages ago here. Maybe I don't care anymore. Magic, teleport us to Limbo now." And he's like, "What are you doing? I can see it in your face. I sense your thoughts. You're terrified of that place and of its mistress, but they are demons I'm willing to confront to put an end to you." And so Magic uses her power and turns into a half goat kind of thing. And Sunspot continues, "Here, there are no in Limbo here. There are no innocents threatened, and Magic's power is the only way in or out. You're trapped, Legion, in body as well as in mind. Moreover, she's absolute ruler of this realm. There is nothing she cannot do. Her sorcery can rip you from David's psyche, Jack. She'll smash you to bits, crush you utterly. Life means nothing to her. She'll take it without hesitation or mercy. Look deeply into her eyes, Jack, and behold your doom." And he screams, "No, no. I've been bad again, haven't I?" Now David is back. "Is everything all right now? May I go home, please?" "That's me. Are you friends?" And then Sunspot's like, "Of yours? Yes." And look at Ileana. They add that little red here. That is great, showing that she's sort of always, um, different here. And so we are now at our last page here. And so back at her complex here, they talk about what happens if Jack breaks free. Moira hopes that eventually David will control the personalities and eventually overriding him. And it'll just be him. They'll cease to exist as individuals. And of course, Sunspot's like, "They die. You mean no wonder they're scared." And Moira's like, "True. But after all, Bobby, it's David's mind, his life, his future." And Cannonball says, "You did real good, buddy, scaring him with that." And Sunspot says, "Do you know why my stratagem worked, Sam? Because I believed every word I said. In Magic, Legion met an evil beside which he was nothing, a true demon. Yet she is our teammate and our friend. That's partly what the New Mutants are all about, pal." And so we get here to the last three panels of the issue. And so Danny goes to Wolfsbane and asks if she's okay. You know, that is so overused. You see that all the time. Are you okay? Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. But, you know, I think it's just something that people have to ask. But anyway, um, and Wolfbane says that she is, but then Danny asks Wolfsbane if she really meant what she said about the town, about the people getting what they deserve. And she said she would stand by and do nothing. And then Wolfsbane just kind of says nothing. She just ponders. And so next issue, we're only fooling. So all right, we have New Mutants number 44. Chris Claremont, Jackson Guice, and oh my goodness gracious, Kyle Baker. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.